We are Black Horse. We are Wisconsin.
Beautiful Miller Park on a Wednesday night. Great to have you with us this evening. We are ready for the Brewers and the Cubs. It is game 3 of this 4-game series. The Brewers winning the first 2 games and trying to make it 4 consecutive. Logan Schaefer grabbing the headlines last night with a suicide squeeze bunt, walk-off style, and the Brewers win again. And tonight the Brewers will give the ball to right-hander Tyler Thornburg. And good evening, everyone. Welcome to another night of Brewers baseball. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Brian Anderson. Brewers and the Cubs, night 3. The series will wrap up tomorrow, and the Brewers will try to put themselves in a position for a sweep with a win here tonight. But, Rock, these young Brewers, the baby Brewers, continue to grab headlines for this ball club.
And they're putting themselves on the map. They've been a lot of fun to watch. And what has been a very disappointing season for the Brewers, these young kids have really done a nice job. Logan Schaefer last night on a pinch hit opportunity, dropping down the bone with the bases loaded, sending the Brewers home happily. It was Caleb Gindel, a couple of home runs. He had a walk-off home run early in the season, a 2-run home run as part of a big night offensively for him. And who can forget Sean Halton on Sunday in the bottom of the 9th inning, a walk-off home run for Halton. He continues to get playing time. He's back in the lineup today. So in what has been a disappointing season, these guys have made a lot of fun down the stretch.
Oh, and now the Brewers will turn it over to 24-year-old right-hander Tyler Thornburg. He has pitched his way into the rotation. Craig and Augie will break him down when we come back.
Brought to you by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And by Toyota, let's go places. Well, if you follow that right field line all the way out to the foul pole, you'll come out to our set here where Augie and I are, and we welcome you back to our broadcast here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Tyler Thornburg has 2 big league wins, but his first as a starting pitcher came in his last start pretty good one against the St. Louis Cardinals.
You know, when you're talking about a young pitcher, you talk about command. You also talk about effective use of the command of your pitches. And I'll tell you, that's what you're seeing out of Tyler Thornburg. He still has that good fastball and that signature curveball. But he's introduced a good changeup and a tailing fastball that he does use very effectively. He's become a pitcher, he's throwing strikes, and he's definitely aggressively confident.
You could almost say Tyler Thornburg has that different swagger now. 1-1 with a 1.50 in his 5 starts here this season on the big league level. Still ahead, we'll bring you the lineups and the first pitch all on the way. Thornburg opposes Chris Russin on the hill. Milwaukee going for their 3rd win in this series tonight.
For baseball tonight, the Brewers and the Cubs, 73 degrees. Little warm front blew through here earlier today, and it feels good. Feels like a little bit of summer. Once again, Tyler Thornburg will lead the Brewers out onto the field. He continues to get starts for the Brewers down the stretch, and he's pitched so well that the Brewers have gone to a 6-man rotation for these final couple of weeks of the season. Brewers coming in with a record of 67-83. They've won 3 straight games and are off to a nice start on this homestand. Milwaukee winning 4 out of 5 on the homestand. Dale Swaim and the Cubs, they continue to struggle, and they are now 63-88. They dropped 3 out of 4 at Pittsburgh on their road trip, and now they've lost the first 2 games here in Milwaukee. So Swaim's lineup looks like this tonight. Castro still leading off and playing short. Valbuena at third base with Rizzo at first. And then Deontay Navarro will do the catching this evening. He'll hit cleanup. Nate Scherholtz, Ryan Sweeney round out the middle. And the bottom 3, it's Brian Bogasevic starting in left field with Darwin Barney at second. Chris Russin, the left-hander, will make the start of that night. That is the Piggly Wiggly Cubs batting order.
And Tyler Thornburg making his 6th start of the year. In each of his first 5 starts, he's gone exactly 6 innings. He's allowed only 5 earned runs in that stretch, and that covers 30 innings pitched. So he's been very good as a starting pitcher. He's 1-1 with a 1.50 ERA. Not too bad out of the bullpen either. Let's check out the Menards Brewers defense for tonight. Chris Davis back in the lineup. The wrist and hand feeling much better. Gomez in center, Aoki in right, Ramirez, Segura, Jeanette. He gets the start against a left-handed pitcher. And Sean Halton at first base. John Lucroy back behind home plate.
Chris Davis, who has been nursing a wrist injury, and as he has been sitting and healing, Caleb Gendel caught fire. So Davis just now able to get back to the starting lineup, although he has declared himself healthy for the last 3 days. But with the left-hander on the mound, it is today that Davis waits to get his start. Toby Basner will call the balls and strikes. Young umpire up from the minor leagues. Chad Fairchild, Paul Schreiber, and Jeff Kellogg on the bases. There is the crew chief, Jeff Kellogg. And all the pieces in place. We're ready for baseball tonight. The Brewers and the Cubs. Third game of this series, and on the first pitch, Castro skies one foul. That'll get into the seats. Now the home schedule is winding down. The Brewers have one more day with the Cubs tomorrow, and that's a matinee tomorrow, a day game. And then the St. Louis Cardinals will be here on Friday. 3-game series with the Cardinals to wrap up the Miller Park portion of the 2013 schedule. Brewers will finish on the road through Atlanta and New York to play the Mets.
And Tyler Thornburg has been able to command 3 good pitches, since his recall. The curveball, the changeup, 2 pitches that have been very good that he did not really have last year. He's only allowed the 1 home run.
And a called strike 3. So Thornburg hits the inside corner, hits 94 on the gun, and Castro is out. Good way to start the night for Tyler Thornburg.
And look at the cluster of pitches after he got that first strike right on the inside corner. Castro looking for something away. Didn't expect that one on the inner half of the plate, and Thornburg got him looking.
Thornburg coming off his first career win as a starting pitcher in his last time out against the St. Louis Cardinals. He has made 5 starts in the big leagues this year, and all 5 have been quality starts. He's gone exactly 6 innings in all 5 of his starts, and he has not allowed more than 2 runs in any of his 5 starts. And such in stark contrast to what he was doing in AAA. It has been amazing to watch Tyler Thornburg rally at the big league level after going 0-9 with an ERA at 5.79 in AAA, and he's become something that he wasn't in AAA, and he's found a new gear here in the major leagues.
Well, obviously he's found something different. I mean, the curveball, the changeup, and if he threw the ball down in the minor leagues like he has here, he wouldn't be anywhere close to 0-9. I mean, he's been very good. 2 walks, 6 strikeouts against the St. Louis Cardinals, allowed only 2 runs in 6 innings of work. And the Cardinals are a very good hitting ball club.
3 balls and a strike on Luis Valbuena. 24-year-old Tyler Thornburg out of South Carolina. That ball's hit hard to right. Aoki coming in, and he makes the catch. Nori Aoki right off the ground. He picks it up to make the play for out number 2.
Yeah, first step for Aoki normally to go in because he plays so deep. Able to grab that with that big glove, and about 6 inches off the ground, and makes the catch for out number 2 for Tyler Thornburg. And the one thing about Thornburg, you'd say he's always been able to get off to a good start, in his starting opportunities so far this year. So he gets that confidence going early.
2 gone. Here is Rizzo. First ball swinging, cuts right through a fastball. Anthony Rizzo comes in as the Cubs leader in home runs with 22. 75 runs batted in. They traded away a big bat in the middle of their lineup in Alfonso Soriano. They've been very active trying to add to their club for years to come, trading away Matt Garza. They started early in July trading Scott Feldman to the Orioles. So 2 of their best starters. And of course Soriano. They also traded Carlos Marmol to the Dodgers. So this is a much different looking ball club than what we saw earlier in the season. And they are showing some signs of frustration down the stretch. They've had back-to-back nights of dugout arguments. Last night it was Samardzija and infield coach David Bell, who's also the third base coach. Dale Swaim and Edwin Jackson in the opener. As Rizzo, and he goes, unable to check his swing, and that'll make the count 3-2.
Those things are more common than people think. I mean, guys mixing it up during the game. A lot of times that stuff happens, out of the dugout, up in the runway, up in the clubhouse. And unfortunately for the Cubs, both of those instances happened in the view of the cameras, so everybody's talking about it today.
3-2 and a swing and a miss. He struck him out with a fastball, and Thornburg off to a good start. 3 up, 3 down, 2 Ks to get his night underway. Renicky, and now he's hoping his offense can keep it rolling here against the Cubs. Brewers winning 4-3 last night. Nori Aoki back in that leadoff spot. Gene Segura, Jonathan Lucroy. Middle of the order for Renicky is Aramis Ramirez, Carlos Gomez, and Chris Davis, with Halton, Jeanette, and Thornburg rounding it out. Piggly Wiggly batting order against left-hander Chris Russin.
The Brewers are hoping that their fortunes against left-handers turn around tonight. They have struggled against lefties this year. Russin making start number 12, his second stint with the Cubs. He's lost 4 of 5 decisions, but he has pitched extremely well in the process. He pitched against the Brewers back on September 6th, got a no decision. The Cubs, Menard's defense, they have not played very well defensively. Not just the errors, but plays that should have been made that have not. The Cubs have not been very consistent defensively this year. Deoner Navarro gets a start. Wellington Castillo sits this one out tonight.
Saw that great image of Aoki dropping the bunt down on Phantom Cam, and don't forget we are getting our Phantom Cam back on Friday and Saturday, so we're looking forward to that coming up against the Cardinals. So Aoki, one of the best hitters in the league against left-handers, and that includes right-handed batters and left-handed batters. Aoki is 5th in the National League with overall batting average against lefties. .342 hitter. Bouncing ball to Valbuena, and he hustles it over to first for out number 1. Statistically, the Brewers a little bit of an anomaly against lefties. They are better offensively overall against left-handed pitching. They're hitting .266 as a team against lefties, but their record is 14 under against lefties, just 2 games under 500 against right-handers. So we're racking our brains trying to figure out why. Obviously, no Corey Hart, no Ryan Braun, and no Aramis Ramirez for a good portion of the schedule affects that. But to have better statistics, but much fewer wins.
And a little bit deceiving. I mean, that statistic is wins and losses when a left-hander starts against you. Not necessarily that the lefty beats you, but in a game that's started by a lefty, the Brewers are going to lose. That's 13 and 27 this year. But yeah, it's one of those things. They're individual numbers. I mean, when you break them down, not too bad, but just can't come up with wins.
So Russin, the left-hander in this series against the Brewers. Tomorrow it'll be Jake Arrieta. 3 right-handers in the rotation for the Cubs in this 4-game set. Russin, the lone lefty here. And Gene Segura takes a ball. 2-1 on Segura. Comes in batting .296. Correction, a 3-1 count. Segura's been battling a slump. Probably some fatigue is a factor. I think Ron Renneke, Garth Ord's the infield coach, trying to keep him going. They want him to play every day. He wants to play every day. And kind of like a marathon runner where you're trying to push over to a different plateau.
And he's going to end up with over 600 official at bats. I mean, at bats. That's not plate appearances. That's at bats. That is a ton of at bats. And Russin, a rare walk to Gene Segura.
So a 1-out walk puts a runner at first and a base stealer, the league's best base stealer. Segura's in his first full season in the major leagues. And Brewers want to make sure he feels what a full season looks like, and he wants to be a guy that can play every day, which is a great attribute. He's certainly not looking for days off. Renneke's been able to give him a couple here or there, but a young player who wants to be out there. Now Lucroy.
You know, an offense is just half the equation. I mean, he's so valuable defensively. Out at shortstop, continues to make the plays, and boy, when he does get on base, he makes a difference out there. He'll steal some runs for you.
Now Segura with 44 stolen bases. He has been caught 13 times. Lucroy typically pretty patient to give him a chance to run, but not here. He's swinging away and he bangs one into left. A base hit for Lucroy. 2 on with 1 away.
Yeah, Russin not overpowering. He doesn't throw very hard. He tries to sink the fastball at the outside corner to right-handers. He'll throw a curveball, a slider, and a changeup. And here's a fastball that stayed up, out over the plate, and Lucroy able to hook it into left field, hit it on the line. Brewers with a couple of base runners.
You know, one of the more underrated offensive catchers in the big leagues, Jonathan Lucroy, is having another terrific year at the plate. And he is aboard with a single. 2 on, 1 out for Aramis Ramirez. And a shot back up the middle, base hit. Segura's going to be waved home. He'll score. And Aramis Ramirez wasting no time against his former club. RBI single. And the Brewers have a 1-0 lead.
And Russin leaving some pitches up in the strike zone. The Brewers are not messing around. They're going right after him. The book on him is he likes to throw the ball off the corner. That looked like a cut fastball that stayed up, and Ramirez bangs it right back into center field. First pitch right down the middle, and Ramirez with the RBI. So the Cubs have to play from behind once again tonight.
Segura pulling up a little lame at the end and limped his way into the dugout. And you see Dave Yeager, I beg your pardon, that's Dan Wright, the head athletic trainer, checking on Segura, so we'll keep an eye on that. Saw him grabbing at his right hamstring.
And right at the end, they're just kind of pulling up. He didn't grab anything, but certainly something grabbed him.
2 on, 1 away. A run is in, and Gomez skies one, right field, slicing. Scherholtz will make the play in fair territory, and Lucroy will hold his ground. So there is the second out of the inning. A cause for concern here as Lucroy was headed to the dugout, and
there it is, right in the like a hammy issue, and you know the Brewers are going to be careful with that.
Just as we were talking about Segura and his eagerness to play every day. We will see if he's able to come back out for the second inning. Here's Chris Davis. The other Chris Davis. The Orioles version hit his 51st home run yesterday. We haven't seen much of the Brewers version of Chris Davis lately.
Yeah, since the Brewers version of Chris Davis has not been playing, we haven't been getting updates on the other Chris Davis.
I feel like we've kind of
forgot about both.
Kind of left him out of the story a little bit. Well, Chris Davis is back in the lineup, and we check in with Sophia for more on that.
Well, Brian, after Gene Segura, you saw him grab at that right hamstring. He did walk back into the clubhouse with head athletic trainer Dan Wright. He has not come out yet, so we'll see if he'll be out in time for the second inning. But he did go into the clubhouse.
All right, thanks, Sophia.
No sense in taking any chances with a hamstring.
Now, Chris Davis has been available to pinch hit and to play. He was had a wrist injury on a check swing, he said, that gave him a lot of trouble, and it's been a couple of weeks since he's been able to play regularly. Brewers were very cautious with him. Davis put up some great numbers. Has 9 homers, and all of those coming since he took over for the suspended Ryan Braun, who incidentally dropped by the ballpark today to talk to his teammates.
I have no idea what he did or when he did it, because he was not around when we showed up. Nothing to report.
And as Braun was suspended and away from the club, Davis took that left field spot. And you might remember that Logan Schaefer, who was playing left field, he was battling with a knee injury, and so Chris Davis got the chance to play every day, and he took great advantage of it. He's put up some big numbers since that time. Talking late July. 9 homers, 22 runs batted in are his season numbers, and all of those numbers coming since late July.
And the reason, he hasn't been in the lineup, the starting lineup, last couple of days, and talking to Ron Renicky, he wanted to give him a few extra days to make sure he was completely healed from that wrist injury. Didn't want to have a relapse.
Two and two, and Davis takes a ball. Davis has really hit the Cubs well this season. Is 11 for 25 against Chicago this year, a .440 batting average, and 4 of his 9 home runs have come against the Cubs. And nearly half of his RBIs, 10 of his 22 ribbies against Chicago. Runners go. 3-2 is outside, ball 4. And that's something that's been most impressive about Davis. His eye at the plate, willing to take his walks.
He's got that big swing. He takes a mighty hack, but he's under control when he does it. Waits for the last minute. He's able to see the baseball well, and normally swings at strikes.
So the bases are loaded, and here is Sean Halton now. Lucroy singled, Ramirez singled and drove in a run, and now the Davis walk. 2 gone, and Halton fouls it off. Halton had the big moment of this homestand. Brewers have had a couple of walk-offs. Had the suicide squeeze bunt last night by Schaefer. But on Sunday, Halton had a walk-off home run against the Reds. First career walk-off in the big leagues. And just to give you an idea of how young this ball club is, and there are 12 rookies on the roster for the Brewers. I asked Sean what was some of the commentary after his walk-off home run. He goes, the first thing I heard when I got to the clubhouse was, dude, you just hit a walk-off in the show. A moment he'll never forget.
It doesn't sound like Aramis Ramirez.
No, probably not, right?
I think the dude is the giveaway.
Yeah. Ramirez, he's got quite a few. I believe he has 6 career walk-off home runs. 2-1. And Halton fouls it away. He was late. And it's 2-2. Now Halton's a big guy. He's put up good numbers in the minor leagues. Been a first baseman throughout his minor league career until this season. As Hunter Morris, who was the MVP in the Southern League 2 years ago, he took over the everyday first base job at AAA, and Halton made himself a utility player. Kind of saw how the prospect ladder was working out, and he decided that he would be aggressive in telling the Brewers coaching staff that he wanted to play some outfield, and he's played third base, could play the corner infield positions, and it has proved him well, because I think that's what was really the deciding factor in getting him to the big leagues this season. The fact that he could play multiple positions. Runners go, and Halton drives one to right. That ball's got some carry, and that ball is up, and it's gone! Sean Halton with a grand slam. His fourth home run in the big leagues, and it is a grand salami that gives the Brewers a 5-0 lead.
And that's the thing you like most about some of these young hitters that the Brewers have right now, their ability to go to the opposite field and do it with power. It's a 3-2 fastball from Russian, up and out over the plate. Halton goes right with it. The Powerball home run count for Halton, number 4, and his first grand slam in the big leagues. Dude, he just hit a grand slam in the show.
Nice. That's right. Well, what a start for the crew tonight. 5 on the board as Sean Halton delivers the big one.
Officially the most runs that Russin has given up since his recall on July 22nd. He has been pitching so well for the Cubs. Gave up 4 runs in 5 innings against the Dodgers on August 1st. Other than that, it's been slim pickings against Russin until tonight.
Wow, what a moment for him. And he's starting to chip away at all the firsts. His first career major league hit came against the Cubs. And his good friend and training partner Matt Garza, back when Garza was pitching in Chicago. That was earlier this season before the trade. A year to remember for Sean Halton. Looked like the big leagues were miles and miles away when he started the season. He was well back on the depth chart, but here he is, and he is performing. Good for him.
Yep. Taking advantage of an opportunity that's given to him, and all these guys have. It's one of these guys that have come up and have been disappointing. None of them. Not one of them.
It's got to be a little bit comforting, as you mentioned in our pregame show, but you know, you see an image like this with Halton sitting next to Chris Davis. These guys all played together in AAA, and I'm sure there is a little bit to it and why they've looked comfortable playing here, and they've acted like they've been in the big leagues for years because of their
familiar faces all around them. You know, in the dugout, in the clubhouse. You sit in that batter's box and you see your teammates down in AAA on the bases. Kind of relaxes you a little bit.
Halton and Chris Davis were roommates at A-ball in Appleton as Russin strikes out Scooter Gennett to end the inning. But what a day and what a series and homestand for Sean Halton. Sunday it was his first career walk-off homer as the Brewers beat the Reds. And moments ago, Halton with his first career grand slam. A 5-run first. Jeff Bianchi has taken over at the shortstop position, so it looked like Gene Segura clutching at his hamstring, his right hamstring. We'll get an official report as soon as we can. Sophia is down there. So Segura is out. He scored the first run. And Bianchi will take over at short. And he is a shortstop by trade. Brewers actually acquired Bianchi from the Cubs. He was never on the field for the Cubs, just a paper transaction. As Deanna Navarro sends that one to right, playable for Nori Aoki. There is out number one, and Thornburg has retired the first four he's faced with a couple of Ks.
Hey, that brings us to tonight's Tavern of the Game winner. It's Papa Joe's Bar in Stevens Point. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game in April of May of next year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite, Papa Joe's Bar.
Sounds like a friendly place.
Yeah.
Yep, you're on TV. Here's Nate Sherholtz with one away.
Yeah, regarding Segura, you just don't want to mess around with hamstrings, groins, those types of things. And, you know, you probably want to talk his way back into the lineup, but I mean, if he tears it anymore or does anything else to it, that might be it for the season for him.
Slow roller to Halton, and he hits Thornburg on the run for out number two. Now that also helps that the Brewers put 5 runs on the board in the first inning.
And you still have a very good defensive shortstop out there. The Brewers still have another shortstop on the bench, Betancourt. Loaded with shortstops are the Brewers right now.
Yeah, good to have that kind of flexibility. Beautiful moon out tonight. A harvest moon.
Yeah.
And glad we can see it. It's been cloudy for a good part of the day. They did open the roof just as the Brewers were taking batting practice tonight. It kind of cleared up after some rains came through this morning.
Summer coming to an end.
Last night the temperatures were in the low 50s. But we've warmed up into the 70s tonight. Very comfortable night here at Miller Park. Great venue to watch a ball game. Roof is open. Panels are open. First time in the series the roof has been open. Sweeney a little bit late, and it's 2-2 now. Cubs center fielder Ryan Sweeney. Two balls, 2 strikes. And Sweeney fouls it away. Little changeup from Thornburg.
He's got a lot of confidence in that pitch. I mean, to throw it on a 2-2 pitch, I mean, you know that he's feeling good about it. And so is Lucroy. It's just going to make his fastball even more effective. He's going to go back with it again. Double up on the changeup.
And a line drive to right. That's going to get down. A base hit for Sweeney on a 2-strike pitch. And the first hit of the ball game for the Cubs. 2-out single by the Cubs center fielder.
That was a better changeup than the first one. Like Sweeney had it dialed in a little bit better. It was down. It was outer half. But he went down and hooked it into right field.
So that will bring Brian Bogusevic to the plate. Former Astro. Bunch of lefties in the lineup tonight for Dale Swaim. 6 left-handed hitters and a switch hitter. 7 of the 9 that Thornburg will face batting off the left side tonight. Jam shot to second. Scooter Gennett to Halton for the out. And a scoreless second for Thornburg. A shutdown inning after a 5 spot in the first. Grand slam, and it came with 2 outs in the inning and 2 strikes on Halton. So Thornburg will lead off. The Brewers sent 8 to the plate in the first inning. Thornburg looking for his first hit of the season. And now that he's in the starting rotation, I'm sure he has gotten some friendly communication about the fact that he's 0 for 12 this year. Pitchers are very prideful about their hitting.
He might not have a hit, but I'll tell you, that was a big top of the second inning for Thornburg after his team gets him 5 runs and puts up a 0. Keep that momentum.
Into center field, Sweeney is over, and Sherholtz will make the call. So 1 gone. Kyle Loesch, Giovanni Gallardo, those are 2 hazing candidates for Thornburg. Tyler Thornburg is pretty effusive in his praise about Kyle Loesch and what he has meant to him this season. Loesch spends a lot of time with Thornburg between starts, and as you can see with that posture up on the top rail, he is into the game when Thornburg is on the mound. Keeps some mental ideas, and they discuss that about particular at-bats and sequences. And Thornburg, we talked to him after the St. Louis game, after his win against the Cardinals, and the first thing out of his mouth was how important Kyle Loesch has been to his growth as a big league pitcher. Well, I know that is music to the ears of Ron Renicky and Rick Kranitz, to have a veteran like Loesch in what has been a disappointing season for the Brewers be able to carry that forward. Aoki bounces to Barney, the Gold Glover, and out number 2.
Now, we talk about it all the time, man. You know, what Kyle Loesch brings to the table. It's not just what he does on the field. And how about his last start, that complete game, and just when the Brewers needed it most, and just the way he handles himself. Not just pitchers that looked up to Kyle Loesch. I mean, he has a pedigree of winning with the St. Louis Cardinals, and you know, guys keep an eye on what he's doing. That's an important thing. You have players on your team that have been to the postseason, have been to the World Series.
Here's Jeff Bianchi batting for the first time in there for Segura.
Brings much more credibility to things that they say and advice that they give.
And Loesch said he has never really been in a mentor role before, and obviously when you're on that Cardinals staff and you've got guys like Chris Carpenter and Adam Wainwright, those are the 2 that are doing most of the talking and leading, especially Carpenter. Slow roller to Valbuena, and Bianchi is out. Russin comes back after a 5-run first. He gets a 3-up, 3-down second. And how about Nori Aoki coming up with a gem early? Pippin one before it hits the ground. Nice play on Luis Valbuena. That was in the first inning, just the second batter that Thornburg faced. Brewers lead 5-0, a 5-run first. 3 hits in the inning. Ramirez had an RBI single that drove in Segura, and then a grand slam by Halton. Segura left the game with what has been officially announced from the Brewers as a strained hamstring that will be reevaluated tomorrow. Strained right hamstring for Segura.
Yeah, those things are tricky. That can mean a lot of different things. But certainly never is good news. I mean, very seldom do you hear strained hamstring and you see a guy back in the lineup right away.
Now, if there is any damage, that could be the end of the season for Segura. We're less than 2 weeks remaining here. Segura, you don't know when it started, but where it showed up for the first time was on this base hit by Ramirez. Segura coming around third and then pulls up with a hitch.
Grabs on it right there, and not a good sign.
Athletic trainer Dan Wright taking him to the clubhouse, so we hope he's all right. Brewers lost Ricky Weeks to a hamstring injury. His was a severe tear of the hamstring that required surgery, ending Weeks' season back in August. Darwin Barney in the air to left. Davis will ease back. And there is the first out.
Took a little off that pitch. Thornburg very confident in his off-speed pitches. That's the biggest surprise that we've seen out of him. Our charter high-speed pitch. And Tyler Thornburg reaching up at about 95. His cruising speed's about 92, 93 these days. And Chris Russin, not a hard thrower.
Russin, a pretty good hitter. In the big leagues, he's 2 for 18. Spent a good part of the year in AAA this year, and he hit 240 there. Hit 260 last year in the minor leagues. Pitchers don't start hitting until AA. So Russin is not one of those pitchers that you can ease up on. Got to make your pitches. Thornburg knows about that. He was a two-way player at Charleston Southern University. He was an outfielder, a center fielder, as a matter of fact. Charleston, South Carolina. Bouncing ball to Halton. He'll wait back and take it himself for out number 2. Thornburg was drafted in the 2010 draft. He was a 3rd rounder by the Brewers that year. Small school in South Carolina. He's from Georgia. Played his high school ball in Sandy Springs, Georgia. Born in Houston. Big Braves fan growing up. Out in Braves country.
And very difficult to get much out of Tyler Thornburg. Pretty quiet. Teammates say he has a pretty good sense of humor.
Very businesslike. Yeah, that's a good way to be when you're in the big leagues for the first time. Top of the order with Castro as Thornburg misses low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Let your pitching arm do your talking, right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that when you're young.
And Thornburg certainly has. I'm sure his confidence was low, and when you're winless in AAA, got off to a horrible start with a high ERA. Actually pitched much better in AAA despite not winning. He actually had an ERA in the month of June in AAA at 3.86. So he was starting to turn it around. It wasn't showing up in the wins and losses, which can be deceiving, especially in the minor leagues. At the time, the Brewers needed a long reliever when he was called up. in late June. And even though Thornburg didn't have the numbers, he still is a prospect, and so he got the shot. As he walks Castro, a 2-out walk. First walk issued by Thornburg tonight.
They can do a lot to make up the numbers for Thornburg down in the minor leagues, but it's amazing to watch him now and to say that he was 0-9 in the minor leagues. He had some very bad starts. He had some good starts. He lost the game. He gave up no earned runs. Gave up an unearned run and lost. So sometimes that happens.
This is his second start against the Cubs. Thornburg matched up against them as part of a split doubleheader, and that was the start that really put Thornburg on the map as a potential starting pitcher the rest of the season. As Valbuena pops this one into foul territory, Ramirez will give it a look, and he's got it. Nice catch in foul ground. Aramis Ramirez makes the catch on Valbuena to end the inning, and 3 scoreless on the board for Thornburg.
To the bottom of the third, and from opening day up until the final homestand, the Brewers have provided some exciting walk-off finishes. And so on our AT&T Twitter poll, we're asking fans to weigh in. What's the most exciting walk-off finish in baseball? We saw the squeeze last night from Logan Schaefer with bases loaded. Home runs, we've seen that from Sean Halton, Caleb Gindel, Jonathan Lucroy, or catch. That's courtesy of Carlos Gomez when he robbed Joey Votto against the Reds. And I have to say, these guys have not quit, BA, and they just continue to grind out these games and provide exciting finishes.
Yeah, why wouldn't they? In the big leagues, many of them for the first time and enjoying life in the big leagues. They're playing hard. They're playing very well. Ron Renick even said as much, that he's surprised at the early success of these guys. He doesn't doubt their talent, but he is surprised that they've come up and adapted so well, so quickly. Guys like Davison, Gindel, and Jeanette, and Sean Halton. So I'm sure it makes the entire organization, it gives them in that baseball operations department a little jolt to know that the minor league system is producing some folks who are contributing at the major league level.
And perhaps with this late surge by these guys, Doug Melvin might be thinking, I might not have as much work to do in the offseason as I thought. Who knows? Some of these guys may be ready for next year and to play every day. Guys like Scooter Jeanette and Caleb Gindel, Chris Davis. Some of these guys have played pretty well.
Lucroy in the air to left center field. On the run, Bogusevic, and with room to make the play for the out. He just missed it on the bat, did Lucroy.
Because we're not even talking about the guys that have been here all year. Segura is probably the youngest of all of them. And then you have Logan Schaefer.
Check out our text question in Iraq. Ho-Chunk Gaming, Wisconsin. Henry wants to know, among the season's Brewers rookies, which players may have secured a roster spot in 14?
That's a tough one. You never know what's going to happen in the offseason, but you got to figure Scooter Gennett.
There's a liner right to Castro. Ramirez, he's seen 2 pitches tonight, has an RBI single and now a line drive out. 2 gone.
And Jeanette Davis, I think, are 2 guys that, barring any, type of trade or free agent acquisition, you would figure those 2 guys are going to be on the ball club.
Then you start to wonder about a guy like Chris Davis, who is only a left fielder. I guess it's possible they could move him maybe to first base, but some discussion perhaps of Ryan Braun moving to right field.
Yeah, to make room for him. Yeah, I mean, Brawny certainly has the arm for right field. Wouldn't be the first position change he's made. That one would probably be a little bit easier for him than going from third base to left field.
Gomez skies one foul, and that'll be off the dugout.
Brewers have to be very pleased with the way their starting pitching is finishing the season. Boy, Peralta's put together some very good starts. Thornburg. There's a note, the Brewers press clips today. The Brewers starters have turned in 12 quality starts in 15 games this month.
I'm doing it with a 6-man rotation now to finish the year. Book is still out whether we'll see Jimmy Nelson make a start this season. Nelson called up and here for the experience as Gomez strikes out, and Russin has come back after the 5-run first. He's retired 7 straight. Wisconsin is brought to you by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Under the moon light on a Wednesday night. Roof is open. Brewers have a 5-0 lead. Scored all 5 runs in the first. Ramirez with an RBI single. Sean Halton with a grand slam. And here we go to the 4th with Rizzo leading off. Tyler Thornburg with 3 scoreless innings so far. He's given up 1 hit, 1 walk, and has a pair of strikeouts, including a strikeout against Rizzo to end the first.
Anthony Rizzo was our head and shoulders whip tonight. Thornburg fell behind him 3-1. Check swing got him to full count, and And Thornburg able to throw a fastball right by him, a very hittable fastball. That one might have been about 94, 95.
Rizzo takes a strike. 2-2 now. Keeping an eye on the scoreboard tonight across Major League Baseball. Full slate of games and a lot of games with pennant implications and wild card implications. The St. Louis Cardinals starting the day today with a 1-game lead over the Pirates, but they are in Colorado tonight. They're trailing 2-0 in the second inning. Pittsburgh has a lead over the Padres in the 8th, 2-1. Close game late in Pittsburgh. Cardinals just getting underway. And the Cincinnati Reds are up 3-0 on the Astros in the bottom of the 3rd inning. So the Reds taking care of business in interleague play, looking for their 3rd straight win against Houston. Swing and a miss. Rizzo chased one, and down he goes. Another whiff. And the 3rd K for Tyler Thornburg.
And he got him on a breaking pitch this time. A curveball down in the strike zone. Rizzo, a very defensive swing. Good block by Lucroy to get the strikeout. Number 3 for Thornburg tonight.
One gone for Deanna Navarro. Getting his first start behind the plate. Wellington Castillo has caught the first 2 games and is the everyday catcher. Not a bad idea to start him with a breaking ball. A first ball hacker, Navarro.
He's a good hitter. I mean, very good pinch hitter. Dale Swain's best coming off the bench. He actually got a base hit last night off the bench.
Yeah, had a double last night. Well, you put the Cubs catchers together, Navarro and Castillo, and they have combined to hit .285 with 20 homers, 63 runs batted in.
Not bad.
But you'd figure the starter would have more home runs. That's not the case. Navarro has 12 homers. Castillo has 8, but 4 of those coming on this current road trip.
And Navarro with 12 home runs and 214 at bats. That's pretty good.
He's hit 2 pinch hit home runs. If you want to do the math, a full season by a catcher would include about 500 at bats, somewhere between 450 and 500 for a catcher. Most other position players could get around 550 to 600 at bats.
No telling he'd be that productive if he was playing every day, though. But I get what you're going. Maybe about 27, 28 home runs.
Swing and a miss, and Thornburg back-to-back Ks. Went back to the off speed, and now 4 punch outs.
And looking good and not making mistakes with the breaking pitch with 2 strikes. Both of them down in the dirt. And Lucroy able to block him.
So 2 gone, and here is Nate Scherholtz. Scherholtz takes a strike, drops another one in there. Good breaking stuff this inning from Thornburg. I'm sure that'll get the Cubs scrambling a little bit. Fastball low, maybe a little away. 2-1 on Scherholtz. Thornburg making his 7th start in the big leagues this season, making his 6th start, I beg your pardon. That ball is hit hard to center, and down it is for a base hit. So Scherholtz got the count in his favor, and he delivers with a hit. How about we check in on the action in Pittsburgh tonight? A scoreless game, or rather a 1-0 Padre lead in the 7th inning, and Andrew McCutchen, MVP candidate off Tyson Ross. Opposite field home run at PNC Park, which is saying something.
Yes, it is.
And McCutchen goes deep to give the Pirates the lead. That was McCutchen's 20th home run of the season.
Pirates looking to snap a 2-game losing streak.
So that game is now in the bottom of the 8th, with the Pirates at the plate leading 2-1. A Pittsburgh win and a St. Louis loss would put the Pirates back in a first-place tie. The Reds are the ones making up some ground as they play the Astros. It's a pretty good bet that those 3 teams are going to make it to the postseason. The Cardinals, the Pirates, the Reds. Washington has an outside shot, but somebody ahead of them has to probably lose out or lose 8, 9 in a row.
And they have to win out.
Right.
Yeah, so pretty good chance that's not happening.
Washington's 4 back in the loss column to the Reds right now. Atlanta just took the lead over the Nationals, by the way. The Braves now 3-2 over Washington. Justin Upton homered.
I'll tell you, a couple of weeks ago it was a foregone conclusion that the Braves would win 100 games. That's not going to happen either. They've scuffled a bit lately.
Sitting on 89 wins. They were swept in a doubleheader yesterday. Their magic number is 4 over Washington, so a win today and it would drop to 2.
There might not be any team with 100 wins this year.
Sweeney into center field, shallow. Gomez got a long way to go, and he'll run it down. That was just about 4th gear right there. He had plenty more in the tank. Another scoreless frame for Thornburg. And in our crew in the community tonight, Northwestern Mutual has partnered with the Brewers Community Foundation for Stolen Bases, Happy Faces. For every stolen base recorded by a Brewers player at Miller Park, Northwestern Mutual will donate $1,000 to the Brewers Community Foundation in support of the Ronald McDonald House of Eastern Wisconsin. And thanks to Northwestern Mutual for their continued support of the Ronald McDonald House Charities and the Brewers Community Foundation. This year's donation is going to be around $72,000. And the Brewers leading the National League in steals. Been a good year in that category. Trailing only the Royals in the major leagues for team stolen bases. Chris Davis quickly down 0-2 on Russin, who was a pitch away, a strike away from getting out of the first inning with just 1 run allowed, before Halton on a 2-strike, 2-out offering hit 1 out, a grand slam in the first. Since that time, Russin is 7 up and 7 down against Milwaukee.
That's ordinarily what you have to do with a guy that sinks the fastball. He's not overpowering. You get him early before he settles in on a foreign pitcher's mound. Further along he goes, the tougher he gets with that sinking fastball.
Now Chris Davis, since he was called back up for technically the 3rd time when he replaced Ryan Braun, that was July 22nd. This is what the Powerball home run leaderboard looks like. Davis has been the top home run hitter on the ball club since that time. And that ball is hammered way back in left center field. Back to the wall, Boga save. There it goes. Add one more to the list. Chris Davis with number 10. And welcome back to the starting lineup.
Well, walk now, a home run number 10 for him. A rainmaker out there in the left field into the Brewers bullpen. A changeup from Russin. Davis able to wait back long enough with that big high finish and knocks it out of here. Thought that ball might never come down. 6-0 Brewers.
Rainmaker to left field. Davis as Halton bounces to short. Nice easy hop for Starlin Castro for the first out. Now Chris Davis, he's been out with a hand injury, hasn't played much over the last couple of weeks. And Sophia, he is making the most of his chance once again. Right away delivers a home run.
Not wasting any time. And I spoke with him before the game. He said he was most concerned about overswinging, actually. He said just mentally that was how he re-aggravated the wrist injury in his start Saturday. He'd been on the bench since then. He told me he was feeling at about an 8 out of 10. He said he let it go in BP yesterday. He was hopeful to do the same today, and he got all of that one, guys. So I don't think he has to worry about overswinging after that at bat.
I talked to Chris around the batting cage, and he said the one thing that bothers him is when he swings and he finishes low. Well, he didn't swing. He didn't finish low on that swing. That bat well over his head, and he says that's his natural swing, and that's when his wrist feels the best after that injury. So you figure no problem with that one.
Scooter Gennett, this is a pop-up behind the plate that'll get in the seats. Well, you mentioned that what these guys are doing right now for the Brewers can affect the decision-making process of Doug Melvin and Gord Ash this offseason in the Brewers executive offices and how they go about free agency of trades. And Davis, I think, is the one guy, he and Scooter Gennett specifically, the two guys that probably hit their way into a potential starting spot to start 2014. A lot will transpire between now and then, but Chris Davis has put himself on the map in a big way.
No doubt about that. A lot of thinking to do for the Brewers as to what to do with Chris. Put him in left field, put Braun out in right. Now it's interesting that Ron Renneke gives Scooter Gennett a start tonight against the left-hander, probably to see what he can do against lefties. That's going to have a big impact on how much playing time he gets next year.
It has not been good so far in the big leagues against left-handed pitching, and he's been used very sparingly against lefties, and Renneke conceded that. He hasn't faced a lot of lefties at this level, and down he goes on strikes. So Gennett is 0 for 2 with a couple of Ks.
His numbers down in the minor leagues against lefties weren't that bad, but you know, if you break that down, you think about that. If you are a left-hander in an organization and you're have any type of fastball or any kind of stuff, you're going to be in the big leagues. So you're not going to see too many lights-out left-handers down in the minor leagues very long. They're all up here, and those are the guys he's facing right now.
Thornburg with 2 away. Well, this has been something to see in the second half of the season, with so many young players coming up and having great seasons.
They come out to Miller Park for the final home game of the season this Sunday against the Cardinals at 7:05. All fans in attendance will get a scratch-off card revealing something for every fan. Visit Brewers.com/fan appreciation for details. game moved from 1:10 p.m. to 7:05.
Tyler Thornburg into right center field. This is Sweeney who wants it, and that will retire the side. But another home run, and the Brewers add to their lead. The big chill, Chris Davis. He makes it 6-0 on his 10th home run of the season.
They lead at 6-0, and nightly on Fox Sports Live, join Jay Onrait and Dan O'Toole along with Donovan McNabb, Andy Roddick, and Krista Thompson as they bring you all the scores, news, and highlights you need. Catch Fox Sports Live nightly on Fox Sports 1. And Onrait and Dan O'Toole making a name for themselves here in the U.S., coming over from Canada to join the Fox family.
Yes, they are. They're entertaining, fun to watch. Good to catch up on all the day's highlights after our games here at Miller Park. Well, Tyler Thornburg back on the mound, getting plenty of run support tonight. The Brewers with 6 runs on 4 hits. Now, Thornburg will face Brian Bogusevic. 2 hits and a walk tonight for Thornburg. They're working on a shutout through the first 4 innings.
Yeah, pitch count at 61. He's in pretty good shape. As you mentioned, every one of his starts this year have gone exactly 6 innings. Imagine Ron Renicky would like to see him get a little deeper tonight.
Bogusevic swung at the first pitch in the 2nd inning, and he bounced to second base. That ended the inning. The 2 hits for the Cubs have come with 2 outs, and Thornburg's walk in the 3rd inning came with 2 outs. So he's only been in the stretch for 3 hitters tonight. There's a good fastball in there for a strike. Popped him up, chased a high fastball, and Bianchi will make the play for out number 1.
Working out of the lineup was pretty much the way Marco Estrada went through his start last night. Not too many base runners. Able to get the first out, first batter each inning. Brewers pitching has been very good in this series.
It's been fun to watch Jonathan Lucroy over these last few years. And remember when Lucroy was first called up and you had a lot of veteran pitchers on the staff, and I always had this image of Lucroy going to the mound countless times with Randy Wolf pitching. That was a hard thing for Lucroy, and he had to learn quickly. His bat was so good. He didn't get the opportunity to just come in and find his way as a backup catcher. He's such a good hitter that he was in the lineup every night, and he had to learn a lot, and he was the first guy at the ballpark trying to get the game plan down to try to figure out and remember how to attack certain hitters. And it's so interesting to watch him now, just a few years later, handle this young pitching staff.
A lot for him to absorb that first year, you betcha.
Bouncing ball, Ramirez cuts it off, sets himself and throws Barney out. 2 up and 2 down. And I'm sure that's a good feeling for Lucroy. You know, he's now thought of as one of the veteran guys, even though he hasn't been around that long. But he's one of the faces of the franchise at this point. Signed a multi-year contract prior to last season.
He's always been able to hit, but his catching has improved dramatically. I mean, not just, you know, throwing the baseball, blocking pitches. I don't think any catcher that I've seen in recent memory has made a bigger improvement physically behind home plate than Jonathan Lucroy, particularly blocking pitches. It all started about the second half of last year.
Logan Watkins will be announced as the pinch hitter. So Russin is out. And Dale Swain probably mentally looks over at Edwin Jackson and says, see, I took other guys out after 4 innings too.
The only difference was Edwin Jackson had only allowed 2 runs
and 2 hits.
Right.
That was on Monday in the opener of the series. So Russin goes 4 innings, 4 hits, 6 runs allowed, and 2 walks and 3 strikeouts.
Some managers may, in fact, in a situation like that with Edwin Jackson, passing comment by the pitcher as he walks into the clubhouse, manager might let it go, pretend it didn't happen, but that's just not the way Dale Swain operates.
Rolls over one, does Watkins, and Scooter Gennett will make the play. And the inning is over. 3 up, 3 down inning for Tyler Thornburg. He's rolling tonight. 5 shutout.
And hey, don't forget, come out to Miller Park as the Brewers host the St. Louis Cardinals this weekend. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com. Big weekend here at the ballpark. You get the grilling set. Have you got your grilling set yet?
Not yet.
No, everybody gets 20,000 fans. Get a grilling set from Potawatomi Bingo Casino. Fan appreciation night. And you get the scratch-off card on Sunday, which has been moved from a day game to a night game, a 7:05 start to accommodate national television.
Important to remember that. Your Schedule says a day game, but it'll be Sunday night. And we'll have the game Friday and Saturday for you, and then we'll be back on Monday in Atlanta, starting that 3-game series. So that's a look at the final weekend of the season at Miller Park. New pitcher rock is Alberto Cabrera. Saw him earlier in this series, and he'll take over in the 5th. The Brewers have a 6-0 lead.
Yeah, pitched on Monday night. Cabrera, a young right-hander with a big arm. He's got a fastball in the mid to upper 90s. Dale Swaim, along with Ron Renicky, trying to figure out what he has going into 2014.
Top of the order against Cabrera. Aoki will lead off, then Bianchi, followed by Lucroy. If you're just picking us up tonight, Gene Segura left this game in the 1st inning with a hamstring injury, strained right hamstring. He's day-to-day. Brewers scored 5 in the 1st. Segura scored the 1st run, and then Halton with the grand slam. Chris Davis homered last inning to make it 6-0. Nori is 0 for 2 tonight. Chris Russin just 4 innings, 6 earned runs this evening. And a long way to go for that bullpen, and Aoki drilled by a pitch. A hit batter. Something the Cubs do a lot of. Got him right on the foot. Looked like right on the top of the foot.
Yep. Pitch down and in. Aoki tried to jump out of the way, but just a little bit too late. Front foot and got him.
Ouch. Oh, that had a thud to it. Right on the toe. Well, Aoki, that might slow him down a little bit. And Jeff Bianchi coming up. Second at bat for Bianchi, grounded out in the 2nd inning. Coming in for the injured Segura. Checking some of the American League scores. The Red Sox and Orioles are tied at 3. That's a big one in Boston. Baltimore is trying to hang in that wild card race. Red Sox are close to clinching. There goes Aoki, and the pitch is outside. Throw to second, not in time. So much for slowing him down.
Right, that didn't slow him down at all. He was playing possum out there.
Stolen base for Aoki, his 19th of the season.
And nice lead, very good jump. And you figure Cabrera wasn't too much worried about him after hitting him in the foot. Figured he wasn't going to run, but he did. Pitch is a strike. At least it should have been, but it wasn't.
And a pop-up slide. Now between Segura and Gomez and Aoki, 3 big base stealers. Segura has 44 stolen bases. Gomez has a chance at 40 this year. Gomez at 36, and now Aoki with 19. He's in scoring position for Bianchi.
Got to get him over. These are the things that Ron Renicky's looking for, to see his young players able to execute. The Yankees' job is to get Aoki over to third base for Lucroy. Try to hit one hard to the right side.
Now Fox Sports is proud to team with Feeding America, a nationwide network of food banks that helps feed more than 37 million people in America each year. They do it through pantries and soup kitchens and shelters. And you can visit feedingamerica.org/Fox Sports to learn how you can fight hunger in your community. Together we're Feeding America. The Yankee, little fly ball to right. Aoki's going to tag, and Sherholtz will chase him back. So one gone.
Oh, Friday you come into the ballpark. Maybe you know what you should do: buy a ticket, go into the turnstiles. If you get hit row, the first 20,000 fans, they get a grilling set. These are the tongs. Got the Brewers logo, Potawatomi, and just use the tongs. Tongs. They got a brush, you know, the basting brush, and the spatula. It's good stuff.
You're rubbing it in now.
No, I'm not rubbing it in. I'm just saying. I mean, if you want one, you might want to buy a ticket.
You've gone on this campaign about my lack of grilling experience. As Aoki takes off, a strike, throw to third. He's not in time. How about stolen base number 20? Hit on the foot. He limps to first in agonizing pain, and I think he was doing a little acting. Swipes 2 bases in this sequence.
Now you see Darwin Barney holding him on close, but Cabrera wasn't paying much attention to him, and Aoki knew it, and he takes off. Easy stolen base.
Brewers do get a runner to third with 1 out. And now Lucroy, chance to add to the lead. Had a bad day on the grill today, by the way, Rock. I was thinking about you.
Really?
It's the walk of shame when you know we had some pork chops for lunch out there on the grill,
right?
And then the grill's not.
And you had to take them in the house.
Never gives over 200. I had to take them off and take them in the house and pan fry them.
Oh, that is embarrassing.
I know.
Man, I feel bad for you.
Right back off the foot of the pitcher. Cabrera, throw to first, is in time, and Lucroy is out. Aoki stays put. Boy, tough break for Lucroy.
Tough break for Lucroy. You know, Aoki kind of in no man's land. That ball hit right back to the pitcher. That's the only time, really, unless you have the contact play on, that you take off. Bare hand, knock it down, and kind of deflected it. Had Aoki taken off right away, he would have scored, but how do you expect him to do that? If Cabrera is able to get it and Aoki takes off, he's an easy out. So he's kind of in no man's land right there, no matter what he does. And Lucroy just out at first base.
Put out goes 1-6-3 on the ricochet. Now Ramirez with 2 away. Yeah, it was a sad day. Sad day on the grill. He's going to have to be retired. So I was kind of looking for a little pick-me-up, a little cheer-em-up with the grilling set.
Don't worry about it. You know what? It's like anything else. You're going to fail once in a while. You just don't want to fail every time. That's the thing.
Confidence is low in the household right now.
It's okay. How are the pork chops?
After 45 minutes, they were great. It's like pork chop jerky. Keep practicing, though.
Just prime grilling season coming up, nice and cool.
Man,
I think you'd have somebody to work on it for you.
High and tight, gets away. Aoki will stay put. Cabrera throwing one right under the chin of Aramis Ramirez. Ball 4.
Well, if you don't get a very good jump right away, you might as well just stay put. Aoki thought about going, but you know, that second thought, he would have been out. He just stays at third base.
Been a little hesitant at third base, as aggressive as he was getting there. Well, we'll see if Carlos Gomez can drive him in. That can't be a comfortable at bat with Cabrera on the mound. He is not exactly dialing it down the middle.
Tough guy to hit, tough guy to catch. And wild, so you know, you're out there defensive. You're not sure what's going to be thrown for a strike. You're not sure if there's contact going to be made, and he's got a big arm, but just has a difficult time in getting ahead in the count.
Gomez launches one deep left center field. That ball is off the wall. In the score, Aoki. And a ringing double by Carlos Gomez. Boy, he kissed that one. And it's 7-0 Brewers as Gomez with an RBI double in his 67th run batted into the season.
Yeah, Cabrera threw it right down the middle of the plate, and Gomez with that big hack. He gets under that one just a little bit, and that's a home run for sure, but a line drive bullet out there in the left center off the wall, and Aoki finally able to score from third base. It took 3 hitters, but he scores.
Gomez really swinging the bat well on this homestand. Hit a key home run last night that tied the game late, which was his 20th homer. Now he has 27 doubles. Just a huge year for him this season.
Could be the knockout punch right here for the Brewers.
Gomez is now 9 for 19 on the homestand, and he has 10 runs batted in. This is game 6. Chris Davis, who homered in the 4th. Talking to Chris Davis at the batting cage today about his routine right before the pitch after he takes the sign right in here in this area. He played his college ball at Cal State Fullerton, and they had a sports psychologist there and taught him how to go through these progressions to slow things down at the plate, not get too wrapped up in all of the things around him, but to be really try to get himself into that tunnel vision. And he tries to do the same routine every time. Tries to imagine himself, as he said, as loose as possible. And you wouldn't know it by that kind of swing, which has a lot of power and a lot of force.
And you wouldn't think that, you know, slowing things down would be a problem for Davis, because I mean, he is very laid back. I mean, even, you know, off the field and around the batting cage and running out to his position, you look at him, you talk to him, and he is laid back as it gets. Much different on the inside, though.
And it is interesting that when Davis watches video and when he scouts different pitchers, or at least at bats that he's had, perhaps he'll look at his routine and see if he is doing things the right way. And he draws the walk here, so another success for Davis. He's walked twice, he's hit a home run, and the bases are loaded in the 5th.
Hey, come out to Miller Park for Fan Appreciation Night, presented by Chevrolet on Saturday against the Cardinals. Enjoy special giveaways and prizes, including a 2014 Chevy Cruze LS. Visit Brewers.com/fan appreciation for details.
Well, what a moment for Sean Halton here. That walk by Davis puts him at the plate with the bases loaded, and he was in that spot in the 1st. And with 2 strikes and 2 outs, a grand slam, first of his career for Sean Halton.
Opportunity to do it again.
Last 2 grand slam game here at Miller Park was Josh Willingham as a member of the Nationals. I believe that was 2010. He's a rare bird. 1 grand slam in a game is rare. What was it? Fernando Tatis hit 2 grand slams in an inning.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Well, Halton the chance to make a good day, a great day with 1 swing of the bat. 1 for 2 with that grand slam. And did he go, they will ask, and he was able to check his swing. Yuni Betancourt with the other 2 grand slams. Those are the 3 for the season for Milwaukee. Ooh, had a good cut.
And that was right down the middle of the plate. Cabrera had to come in, down 2-0.
Brewers have loaded him up with 2 outs. And Halton, he took a shot at it. 2-2, big cut and a 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, fastball up and in. It was ball 3.
Two walks and a double with 2 outs. 2-2 to Halton. And he fouls it away. That'll be in the seats. Brewers have a run in. Aoki was hit by a pitch. He stole second and third. He scores on the double by Gomez. 7-0. Sean Halton batting with the bases loaded again. And down he goes. Struck him out on a breaking ball, and Halton is retired. The inning is over. And the Brewers strand him loaded, but Carlos Gomez tacks one more on the board. A bullet of a double off the wall in left center. 7-0 Brew Crew. And 2 home runs tonight. Chris Davis and Sean Halton. Halton's was a grand slam. And here we go to the 6th inning now. Tyler Thornburg developing into quite a story tonight. He's working on a 2-hit shutout through the first 5 innings. And now the 3rd time through the batting order. Starlin Castro leads off. Now the Padres rock have come back to beat the Pirates tonight.
Yeah.
Wow. Pittsburgh losing their 3rd consecutive game to San Diego. 3-2 was the final score. San Diego scoring twice in the 9th, handing a loss to Melanson.
Yeah. Pirates now 3 in a row. Cardinals tonight beating Colorado 3-2. That's in the 4th. Going to go right down to the wire. Last couple of days of the season.
Cardinals a chance to go up 2 games in the National League Central if they can hang on to beat the Rockies tonight. Cincinnati taking care of the Astros again. Astros have scored a couple of runs, but it is still a Reds lead 3-2. That game's in the 5th. They're looking for their 3rd consecutive win over Houston. Two and two to Castro. Little jam shot. Jeanette will play it on a hop, and out number 1. Thornburg's making it look easy right now.
Yeah, Thornburg's been able to retire the leadoff hitter in every inning. Well, it really makes your job a lot easier out there in the mound. You get that first hitter, makes scoring runs very difficult. Good mix of ground balls and fly balls tonight for Tyler Thornburg.
One gone for Luis Valbuena. Well, the Padres and the Pirates will play one more game tomorrow. That's a 4-game series. Pittsburgh trying to salvage one. Well, you can imagine the fans in Pittsburgh. The club comes home and they start this series against San Diego, and you know they're looking at that series like, this is our opportunity to make a run here. Padres beat them 3 in a row. Yeah. And the best part of the Pirates has been their bullpen. That's their strength. And the Padres come off the deck to beat them tonight.
Yeah, Padres put some pretty good pitching on them, though, in that series.
Yeah, Andrew Kashner started the series with a 1-hit shutout. Took a perfect game into the 7th on Monday. Cardinals lead 3-2. They're headed to the bottom of the 4th in Colorado. Wainwright's on the mound tonight for St. Louis. Valbuena walks. Second walk for Thornburg to go along with the 2 hits allowed. The Dodgers have a magic number of 2. They can clinch a division tonight if they beat the Diamondbacks. That game will be later. Braves still leading the Nationals 4-2. Their magic number is 4 over the Nationals. That game's in the 8th inning, and the Braves up a pair. Justin Upton is homered. And by the way, Denard Span got a base hit tonight. His hitting streak is at 29. The National center fielder.
And they've been red hot. They've won 9 of 10, making it interesting, that final wild card spot, but they're going to run out of time.
I think the team to watch over the American League is the Indians. Very favorable schedule ahead. Tonight they're playing in Kansas City. Indians are just a half game back in the wild card race. Rays and the Rangers occupy the 2 spots right now. Those 2 are playing tonight, and they're in a 2-2 tie in the 9th inning. Texas and Tampa Bay. Rizzo, bouncer to halt, and he goes to second for 1. And the return throw not in time. Brewers get the lead out at second base. Out number 2. Rizzo reaching on a fielder's choice.
Another good off-speed pitch by Tyler Thornburg to Rizzo. Rizzo has had a tough time with this breaking pitch tonight. A high chopper. Halton gets the lead runner.
Two gone for Navarro. The Cubs have not had a runner at second base tonight. 2 walks, 2 singles, and nobody is advanced into scoring position. That's how good Thornburg has been, and staked to a lot of runs early. A 5-run first, solo tallies in the 4th and the 5th as Navarro takes a strike. Well, had a good cut. He fouls it back. 1-2 the count. Thornburg has gone exactly 6 innings in all 5 of his starts this season. Pitch count is in pretty good shape, though. It's at 90 as he works in the 6th.
And no further trouble in this inning. I think that Renicky might send him out for the 7th.
He's done everything the Brewers have asked. He's pitched in long relief. Now the bullpen. He's come in as a starter. And right to Halton, and an easy out to end the inning. So Thornburg, 6 shutout on the board. Does he have another inning in him? 7-0 Crew. Going to the bottom of the 6th. Look at the famous racing sausages with a little pre-race style going on. Always a lot of fun. Checking out the sausages tonight, giving us a little extra, a little showmanship. Not just all business. The brat takes it to the finish line tonight. So if you had brat in your sausage race program tonight, you are the winner. Tell them what they've won, Rock.
I'll tell you what, there's nobody in all of baseball that can do the sausage race any better than you can. Kentucky Derby next. Seriously.
I might have to step up my game. I was a little thrown off by their little pregame antics. I don't know if you saw that, but it was something you might see in the NBA before introductions.
So all part of the bit. I mean, that's what makes them so special.
Hector Rondon. Peaking in my broadcasting career as
all the wonderful things that you have done on television. There they are, just like an NBA huddle. Yep, there they go. They're ready.
That's funny. Makes you laugh every night.
I mean, you know, a lot of people can say that they called a no-hitter in the playoffs, but calling a sausage race?
How many have called a no-hitter in a sausage race?
Right, no kidding, right?
Every night. 1-1 to Jeanette.
Actually, what? There's been 2, right? No hitters in the playoffs.
There have been 2 of them.
Don Larson,
a perfect game, 56, and Roy Halladay.
Yeah.
2010 Phillies Reds. There's Jimmy Nelson. Wow, this will be a good chance to get a look at Jimmy Nelson, one of the prize prospects in the Brewers system. He's been a starting pitcher. Renicky said he's going to take his time with him and try to find just the right spot to get him in a game, and this might be one as Jeanette bounces to short. Starlin Castro takes care of Jeanette for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, that answers the question of Tyler Thornburg, whether he's coming out again. Juan Francisco walking to home plate. And Jimmy Nelson down in that Brewers bullpen throwing with purpose.
So Thornburg, 6 innings, 2 hits of shutout baseball. And he continues to pitch well. There we see the numbers on Thornburg, 91 pitches, and another successful night for Thornburg. He continues to earn his turn in the rotation.
Yeah, another quality start for Tyler Thornburg, and another quality start for this Brewers starting rotation in September.
Brewer starters have been so good that Ron Renicke's had a tough time finding innings for a few of those guys, as Sophia can report. And we're going to get a look at Jimmy Nelson, it looks like, Sophia.
Yes, and he's one of the relievers that has had to spend a lot of time in the bullpen just because he said we've played so many close late games over this last homestand. He said especially when the Reds were in town, these are teams that are, in the pennant race, and you want to give each team your best shot. And so he said with the close late games, it's a good thing to have that Kinsler and Henderson have been shutting down, but they want to get more looks at guys like Jimmy Nelson, Michael Blazek, even, guys like Donovan Hand. They're still trying to figure out what they have in the bullpen for next year as well.
And Nelson certainly a shot to make the starting rotation next year. He had a great year in the minor leagues, AA and AAA. Francisco into center field for Sweeney, and out number 2.
And then there's Alfredo Figueroa, who has had a very difficult time to find innings. All right, Lucroy and Thornburg doing a debriefing in the dugout.
Thornburg sitting next to Johnny Helwig. Helwig will get the start on Friday. Renicke did say about Jimmy Nelson that it would have to be a scenario like this because Nelson's been a starter. He didn't want to have him in a game where he had to loosen up quickly as they again go down and in on Aoki, and a trend is developing with the Cubs and the Brewers leadoff hitter.
I'm not sure what Aoki did to the Cubs, but there it is again, down and in, not even close to home plate. Cabrera threw one down there. And now Rondon.
Cabrera hit Aoki last inning. Then he stole second and third. A foul ball off his foot. But back to Jimmy Nelson. So Renicke said he wants to give him ample time to get ready like he would as a starter. He's not going to be able to get out on the field, maybe do his long tossing or his normal starting routine, but he wants to give him a lot of time to get loose. The last thing he wants Nelson to do is to have to get ready in a hurry and put him into a game, and he certainly wasn't going to put him in with men on base. But he does want to try to keep him sharp in case he does have a chance to give him a start in the last couple of weeks. So he's getting plenty of time to get loose in a game like this.
No, he's got plenty of time. You're right.
Ideal scenario to get Jimmy Nelson in. And for Thornburg, even though he probably could have kept going, well, what a confidence booster to put another 6-inning start on the board and no runs.
And throw up another W for Thornburg. Give him 3 wins in the big leagues. 3 more than he had down in the minor leagues this year.
He has 1 win as a reliever. He won against the Cardinals, his first victory in the big leagues as a starter in his last time out. And he's got a chance to make it win number 3 here tonight. Thornburg's earned run average in his 6 starts, 1.25 in 36 innings. Aoki, center field, pretty well hit. Sweeney will make the catch on the run to end the inning. 3 up and 3 down for Rondon. 7-0 Brewers, and here comes Jimmy Nelson.
Cubs as we go now to the top of the 7th inning. Augie and I getting set for Brewers Live postgame coming up after the ball game. Boy, a lot of choices with the young guns here today. Thornburg on the mound, Halton and Davis at the plate tonight.
I'll tell you, there were 2 big home runs for the Brewers, but you got to look at Tyler Thornton, how he's throwing the ball. We talk about command, having that good command, but you also talk about the efficiency and using it. Tonight he was very good.
All right, the instructional tonight coming up after the ball game focuses on the pitching that Augie is talking about. Maybe especially with Tyler Thornburg right now, we're going to focus on the curveball. The instructional part of what's happening on Brewers Live coming up after the ball game. We'll catch up with Ron Renicky and get inside that Brewer clubhouse as well. So far, so good. And there is that curveball, Augie.
I'll tell you what, it's all about spinning, getting a good hand speed. And I'll tell you what, Tyler Thornburg tonight has had great command of that pitch, and it's been a big pitch for him.
Well, Augie's going to stick around and talk more with Brian and Bill here as we progress towards the final innings. And Brian, Jimmy Nelson now out on the hill.
Yeah, Jimmy Nelson appearing in his 3rd big league game. And the big right-hander who has plowed his way through AA and AAA. And Augie, I know you've had a chance to see a little bit of Jimmy Nelson. What do you like about this young right-hander?
Well, you know, the thing I really like about it is he's very aggressive. He throws strikes. He's got a very good curveball, just like Thornburg. But I'll tell you what, when he first time's out, he's been commanding the strike zone with the fastball, getting ahead. And when you come to the big leagues, what you have to do, you have to get ahead early. And I'll tell you what, he's done that in his appearances so far.
He's got a good slider. He's had 2 appearances. He made his Major League debut back in Chicago against the Cubs, 6 up, 6 down. And his 2nd appearance was also a perfect inning. That was Saturday here at Miller Park against Cincinnati. So in 2 appearances, he has not allowed a base runner.
Prototypical power right-handed pitcher. A big man with a fastball in the mid-90s. His first offering was at 95 miles an hour. And I'm sure if he cruises through this, he might have a chance to pitch the final 3 innings and potentially earn a major league save here today, even though it's a 7-0 ball game. I know Renicky's been anxious to get him some work.
Perfect opportunity to do that. How often do the Brewers have a 7-0 lead? Every one of their games has been very close, low-scoring games, and offense coming alive. Perfect opportunity for Nelson to show what he can do.
And Augie, it seems like, I don't know if this is, you know, one of the first goals of the Brewers, but as they get Jimmy Nelson to the big leagues, they want him to just settle in here first. Scherholtz flies out to left. It's one thing to be settled in the big leagues and be in this environment in September. It's another thing to be a starter all year and then have to go to the bullpen, and then on top of that deal with the anxiety of pitching for the first time in the big leagues, which is all part of the process for Jimmy Nelson this September.
Well, the one thing that Brewers have done, which is really good for a young pitcher coming up, they allow him to start the inning. I think that's really important. When you get a young guy up, he's got that, you know, he wants to get in the ball game. I'm sure there's butterflies, but to get in to start that inning, it's just like for him going to start a ball game, and that's the way they have used him. Get him in ball games, get him a couple innings here and there, and then you'll see what he can do, and from there possibly get him a start before the end of the season.
So right now the Brewers, you know, all the talk was where are all the arms from the minor league system? Well, they're all here and they're all throwing the baseball pretty well.
Yeah, Thornburg has been good. Of course, Peralta has pitched here all year, his first full season in the big leagues. Nelson and Caleb Gendel have played against each other, and of course teammates now, but they've known each other for a long time. It's kind of like the Ricky Weeks Prince Fielder story. Gendel and Nelson have known each other since they were teenagers down in Florida. Jimmy Nelson's from Niceville, Florida, and he remembers Caleb Gendel as a pitcher. Jimmy Nelson's almost a foot taller than Caleb Gendel.
He's a big boy. Yes, he is.
There's a base hit down the line, going to go for extras. Davis cuts it off, but not before Ryan Sweeney with a 1-out double. So yeah, these two were sharing a story that they're pitching against each other in high-level high school district competition, state championship qualifiers and whatnot. And there was Nelson, big and tall power right-hander, And he told me that Caleb Gindel, at 5'6" and a left-hander, used to throw 93 to 95 miles an hour off the mound. And Augie, I think for a while they were talking about Gindel as a potential signee as a pitcher, but he wanted to be a position player, and the Brewers were one of the few teams that wanted to sign him as an outfielder.
You throw the ball from the left side, and you're throwing the ball 93, 95, and you can throw strikes with any kind of move and get the ball over the plate. I'll tell you, there's going to be a lot of teams looking at you.
Hard to believe he didn't sign as a pitcher, right?
That is amazing.
Left-handed with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but he could hit too, so he wanted to play it as a position player. And to have the opportunity to make that choice gives you an idea of the athleticism.
Maybe he had a little bit of a tough time with the breaking pitch. You never know. There's a reason for everything. Maybe we should ask him.
Well, you've got a man at the plate right now who started as a pitcher and ended up as a position player, Brian Bogusevic. Think about Rick Ankiel, who did that. I guess Caleb Gindel felt like he could always go back to the mound if need be.
Right.
He still has a good fastball.
As a last resort.
But he's showing he can hit a little bit. Two and two the count.
Yeah, good movement with that fastball. Sometimes when he throws it on the glove side, it's got a little bit of a dart, a cut to it. He rides that fastball up there in the mid-90s. You like the way these young pitchers have come in and continue to throw strikes. I mean, not timid at all to pitch the contact. That's what you love to see.
Boy, a nasty slider right there from Nelson. Bogusevic didn't bite on it. 3-2 the count. That pitch right there is going to get him a lot of outs. Nelson played his college ball at Alabama. Crimson Tide, a polished college pitcher when they drafted him in the second round of 2010.
And Nelson threw that slider to Bogusevic. He's out there on the mound thinking, boy, they swing at that in AAA. That's a strikeout pitch, but not so much in the big leagues. The other thing these young kids have to adjust to is the strike zone. Much different strike zone in the big leagues than it is down in the minors. Very tight zone. You're not going to get much off the corners.
And Nelson issues the walk. Let's take a look at the mechanics. Jerry Augustine, why don't you take us through what you see from Jimmy Nelson?
Well, I think when the first thing when you talk about pitching, you talk about balance, and you always have to go to one thing, and it's usually the balance point with every pitcher. It doesn't make any difference on who it is, but it starts strictly with balance. And here you see him going up. He's got good balance, and then it's getting that arm in good position to go to plate. Right there, releases the ball back, gets over that front foot real well, and then he can extend and go to the plate. The one thing that you see young pitchers do is that movement you see kind of he fades off to the first base side. Every once in a while, if you don't keep that motion going directly at the plate, you have a tendency to fly off. They call it flying off, and your arms goes out and you have to lose a little bit of control. If you think about anything right there, it just to be about going directly at the plate as far as you can, and then it helps you stay in that strike zone longer.
Arm drags, everything ends up in the strike zone.
You're right. You notice right there he was very direct. Every once in a while, that's when you got big, tall people and they get up and they get that good balance, and then they're driving. A lot of times there's so much, they're going after the plate so much that you get over that front leg, it just carries you off to what you call your glove side, and that's where you have that tendency where the arm to drag, and sometimes the ball gets away from you.
Yeah, when you're jacked up, like you know that Jimmy Nelson is jacked up right now, being relaxed and staying nice and even with his delivery, staying in that balance point. That's got to be a challenge, Augie, when the guy's out there and he's excited and he wants to get that pitch and throw it to home plate. I mean, that's got to be one of the biggest challenges that he faces.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Rocky. It's you get to that point, you feel like, you know what, stay in your delivery, stay back, think down in the strike zone. But boy, all of a sudden it starts, and all you got on your mind is to get the ball to the plate as fast as you can.
Well, Nelson with 2 on behind him, 1 out. Just his 3rd appearance. He last pitched against the Reds 4 days ago. And Barney into right field. Out there by Augie. Aoki will make the catch, and the runners hold their ground. And a good throw.
How about that?
That throw had a little anger in it, I think, from the hit by pitch a moment ago.
Throw at me again, will you?
So 2 outs.
That's a surprising thing about Aoki. Not a big guy, but he's got a very good arm. He's got something on it and very accurate.
Keeps the runners at first and second. 7-0 Brewers. And we're all curious to see Jimmy Nelson for the rest of this season. His 3rd appearance tonight. He's gone 2 innings of shutout ball. He had an inning scoreless against the Reds. And in his first inning tonight, Junior Lake announces the pinch hitter.
Good decision to throw a breaking pitch to that guy.
He was in swing mode, wasn't he?
Yeah, he swings at everything. He likes the fastball. Doesn't get cheated.
A strike. And it's 0-2.
You know, you're talking about 2 quality pitches right there. He started him off with that. Rocky said he had that great slider. He threw that great slider for a strike. He swings and misses it. Then he paints that outside corner. That's pretty good pitching right there.
Yeah. And when you throw that first pitch breaking ball, hitters don't know what's coming next.
Nelson, a 10-game winner in the minor leagues this year. Had 5 in Huntsville, AA, 5 in Nashville. Good block by Lucroy. Nelson dominated the AA Southern League. Had a 2.74 ERA in 12 starts. Had a complete game in AA. And more strikeouts than innings pitched. And I think, guys, what has impressed the Brewers the most about Nelson, the strikeouts to walks at the higher levels. His first time pitching at AAA this year. Had 10 games in AA last season, but he started last season in Single A in Brevard County. So here he is moving quickly through the organization now. And once you get to AA, that light at the end of the tunnel at the big leagues is in front of you, and he has made it. 1-2 to Lake. Little jam shot roller. The Yankee got to hurry. The throw to first is just in time to get him. So Jimmy Nelson puts up a 0. 7-0 Brewers. Our game summary as we go to the bottom of the 7th, and it was off with a bang tonight. First inning grand slam by Sean Halton in a 5-run inning for the Brewers in the first off Chris Russin. Then Chris Davis, he hit a solo homer in the 4th inning. And his return to the starting lineup, 10th homer of the season, Tyler Thornburg, a big part of the story tonight. 6 shutout innings, just 2 hits allowed. He continues to impress as a starting pitcher. And now 6 starts. In those starts, a 1.25 earned run average. And the Brewers lead 7-0 as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Chang Yong Lim will pitch for the 2nd time in this series.
Well, Lim making his 4th appearance. He spent many years over in Korea and Japan. Cubs signed into a 2-year deal, just coming off Tommy John surgery. Very tough on right-handed batters with that 3/4 delivery. See the opponent batting average at .400 for Chang Yong Lim.
And as reported by Bill Schroeder just 2 days ago, Chang Yong Lim, the oldest rookie, 2nd oldest rookie in Cubs franchise history at 37 years of age. Jerry Augustine is with us out on the Brewers live set, and always fun to get Augie on to talk a little pitching. One of the great mechanics gurus we have in this area. People don't know Augie as that. You know, he's not just a funny guy and a broadcaster. There's a lot more to him.
Not just a pretty face.
Right. Exactly.
That's a stretch right there, Rock.
Well, this is going to be fun, Augie, because here's a guy that's about as unconventional as it gets, and a very successful closer in the Japanese leagues all these years, and he wanted to test his wares over here in the major leagues, and he's coming off Tommy John surgery. Cubs signed him to a 2-year deal, and he's just now getting on the mound. And he slings it in there with a lot of sink to it.
Very deliberate as he collects himself as he starts his delivery, just to make sure that everything is where it should be. There's Augie. Just about every pitcher, from Japan, Korea, they do the same thing.
Liner to first, and Bianchi is retired. Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, brought to you by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Miller Park, Milwaukee on a beautiful Wednesday night. Moon is out, shining brightly up above Miller Park. And a 7-0 lead. Brewers trying to shut out the Cubs here tonight. Now, Augie, as it concerns Lim, you take a look at his delivery, his mechanics. I would imagine there's a lot more to keeping everything in position to throw strikes, and he's been a great command pitcher his entire career, throwing from this release point, which is a bit unusual.
You know, he's really got pretty good balance. When you look at it when he goes up, you see him that he's got balance, but you see him start driving to the plate there. A lot of times when your body moves to the plate, your arm drags, and I think when you talk about a young pitcher, a pitcher that throws out of that 3/4 or down under from the side there, it's really big that you stay back and separate your hands before you go forward. And sometimes I would think that when Lim runs into some problems is that he gets that body out rush, and then your arm drags. And that's pretty much what every kind of pitcher is. You really got to make sure that when you get to that good balance point, that ball is going back before your body goes forward, so you can get your arm in good position.
Augie, it seems like Lim has a very long stride, almost too long. But what are the advantages of having a long stride like that?
Well, it just depends. Everybody's a little bit different. You know, you talk to taller guys who get out there a little bit longer, but sometimes what it does, it kind of flattens you out. And for pitchers that kind of throw 3/4 or from the side, it's not so bad. The only thing it does, it gets you so far stretched out that you have a tendency to drag your arm. And you look at two things. You look at balance, how far you get out on that front foot, and how much you can get over that front foot. And with a side armor, that's hard to do.
I would imagine you have to really concentrate to keep that front shoulder closed when you have a stride that long.
You really do, and that's a big part of pitching. You got to make sure you don't fly open, because that front shoulder flies, the arm's going to drag.
Well, you just get the sense looking at Lim, and even at 37 years of age, he looks like a guy that is in great shape and extremely flexible. Lim coming back from the Tommy John surgery. Cubs have him signed up for next year as well, so they're just glad to get him on the mound this season and to get him some big league action, and hoping he can be an impact pitcher in their bullpen next season. As he puts one past Lucroy and a strikeout, 93 miles an hour from down there.
As a right-handed batter, you have to concentrate. You talk about Lim keeping that front shoulder closed. That's even more important with a hitter when you're trying to face a guy like Lim who throws with that sidearm delivery. If he keeps the baseball in the outer half or slips that slider up there on the outer half of the plate, you pull that front shoulder, you have no chance. When you have a pitcher that throws like that, you know, the tendency is, or the instinct that you have is to open up with your shoulder to follow that arm around. You can't do it.
Here's Yuni Betancourt pinch hitting for Ramirez. And Lim slings one in.
That's why Lim is going to work the outside corner just about with every pitch.
Betancourt pinch hitting, and he'll stay in the game to play third. Most likely. I suppose they could move Halton over there to get him a few reps. Lim and Nori Aoki were teammates in Japan for a few years, 3 years, I believe. The Yakult Swallows. Last time we were in Chicago, a lot of the Brewers were asking Aoki for a scouting report on this pitcher, Lim. He gave a lot more to the Brewers than he did the media that day. Because we asked him the same thing. He said he's a good guy.
I'm sure he is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good pitcher, good guy.
You know, what might have happened is, you know, Nori might have given a nice long scouting report, but Kosuke probably just said he's a good guy.
That's a good point. Yeah, sometimes it gets lost in translation.
Yeah.
Maybe. And a swing and a miss. So Lim, a successful seventh inning. A couple of strikeouts. Going to the eighth. It's 7-0 Brewers.
Out the results of our AT&T Twitter poll asking fans to weigh in what's the most exciting walk-off finish in baseball. Well, 54% went with last night's winner from Logan Schaefer, that walk-off suicide squeeze. Now, that was the first one for the Brewers since Jonathan Lucroy did it on May 28th, 2011 against the Giants. It's not the most common way to do it, but will certainly get the job done, guys. Logan takes over in center field for Carlos Gomez.
Yeah, Schaefer back out there, and make sure you tune in on Friday as you see Yuni Betancourt at third base, pinch hit for Ramirez. On Friday for our Brewers Live pregame, we're going to have a sit down with Logan Schaefer. Speaking of mechanics, he's going to go through some of the swing mechanics of a home run he hit, some of the swing thoughts that he goes through, and pretty good stuff from Logan Schaefer, who speaks the game very well, especially mechanically. So we will bring that to you on Friday. Big Jimmy Nelson back at it, a scoreless 7th inning to get his night started, coming out of the bullpen. His 3rd outing as a big leaguer this year. Nelson very highly thought of. Brewers baseball operations today put their had all their scouts in and all their front office members, and they had meetings all day today trying to get the picture a little clearer moving ahead to 2014, and I'm sure Jimmy Nelson's name was talked about a lot. So those scouts are here, and good chance for them to get their eyes on him as well tonight.
Every team in a process of evaluation right now. The Cubs had all their folks in here at Miller Park, this week, going over their roster, making decisions going forward.
Little jam shot grounder over to Halton, and there is the first out.
Hey, on Friday, high school and college students can purchase select tickets at special savings courtesy of Time Warner Cable. Some restrictions apply. Visit brewers.com/students for information.
Well, don't forget to mark your calendars for Brewers on Deck. It's presented by Time Warner Cable, and it will take place Sunday, January 26th. That'll be at the Wisconsin Center. And as part of Fans First, the event will be free this year. Visit brewers.com/on-deck for details. And most of the Brewer players show up, and a lot of the prospects. Jimmy Nelson was there representing some of the prospects last year. He's hoping to be there representing the major leaguers this year. Two balls, no strikes on Valbuena.
Augie, what is your role in the Brewers on Deck event?
Usually what they have, they put a little league field in, and what we do is during the day we'll have different demonstrations. Jim Gantner comes down, a lot of former players come in, and we'll do demonstrate. Marcus Handel comes over. We'll do different things. We'll do throwing and catching, hitting, fielding the ball, running the bases, things like that. Kids have a lot of fun, and it starts off a little slow, but it gets around noon, and we have a lot of young kids having a good time.
And Augie, just for our own entertainment, give us an idea of how a Jim Gantner lesson might go at On Deck, like some of the things he might say to a young fan who's there getting an instructional.
When you talk about Jim Gantner, though, he's an excellent instructor. He knows the game very well. He knows what he's talking about, and he'll just go out and speak. One of the things, he does make a mistake. I remember in playing with him, and he's like the Yogi Bear of the former 82 Brewers, and there's no question about it. And he was giving a demonstration of playing infield, and he says, well, what you got to do is you got to go out and get in a good stance and get on the palms of your feet. And everybody just lost it, and it's just the way Jim Gantner is. He's so beloved. And it's the funny thing is, I remember being up in Minnesota, and I ran into Molitor, and the first thing I saw Paul Molitor in Minnesota, who I hadn't seen in 2 years, he said, hey, where's Gumby? So you can just see how much Gumby is loved, and what a big friend he is, and what a great friend he is to all the players, especially our 82 group.
That was beautiful, Augie. Well done. On the palms of your feet.
Right.
Palms.
Yeah.
Yes. Nobody does Jim Gantner better than Augie. I think Augie does Jim Gantner better than Jim Gantner.
Gorman does him pretty well. But the whole team does them. That's the thing.
And you can see all those three together at Brewers Fantasy Camp this year.
Oh, what a plug.
Is that awesome?
Job.
Huh?
I feel like I'm at a NASCAR event right now.
It is fun, I'll tell you, when you have those guys out there. It's nothing but fun because there's something going on all the time.
Yes, and now the truck is officially sucking up. Yep. And there is the Fantasy Camp graphic. February 2nd through the 9th in Phoenix.
We're filling up. We have 65 right now, so we have a few left, and we don't want to oversell it because, you know, space-wise, and it just gets a little bit out of hand when you have too many. So we're getting there.
Well, I'll tell you this: Jerry Augustine was my fantasy camp manager the year I went, and
you were lucky.
I enjoyed that thoroughly. Thanks for drafting me, Augie.
Well, I'll tell you what. I remember the game that you pitched because you were pitching against your good friends from Texas who were at the camp, and I think I might have let you go a few too many pitches.
It's a swing and a miss as Rizzo strikes out, and Jimmy Nelson with a punch out.
Yeah, complete games are frowned upon in fantasy camp,
especially 10-inning complete games. We went extras. Good thing we won, right, Augie?
That's it. How you doing, BA? I think I got one more left in me.
No, I think it was more like you got one more left in you, right?
I think that's the direction we took.
The problem with Augie as your manager in fantasy camp, you do a doubleheader, and so the coaches pitch. Your manager pitches to your team in that second game, and Augie's nasty. You know, he's got great stuff still, and even when he's trying to lay it in there.
And he's the only fantasy camp coach that actually pitches off the pitching rubber.
He does.
The rest of us are on the grass.
He's throwing cutters and sinkers. He's like, hey, that's just the way it comes out of my hand. Sorry.
It's all. I'm trying to throw it straight.
He's throwing a no-hitter to his own team in the second game of those doubleheaders.
That is one place where, as a coach, you want to have a high ERA.
Rob Deere, the Brewers' assistant hitting coach, who's on the front step of the Cubs dugout, will be a coach this year.
All right.
Down at fantasy camp.
Rob Deere, Jerry Augustine, Gorman. Who else?
We got Mike Caldwell in the fold, and it's Cecil Cooper.
Nice. Sounds like a good group.
I'll tell you what, you talk about sinking the ball and moving the ball. It's going to be really interesting with Mike Caldwell there.
Yeah.
It's hard to give up those old habits.
Speaking of Yogi Berra-isms, Jeff Cirillo will be there too.
Oh, he'll be good for a few. 2 gone. Jimmy Nelson trying to get through a second scoreless inning. The 1-2 pitch, and it's pulled foul. Seeing some good sharp breaking balls from Nelson.
And he got Rizzo on a good slider down and in. Rizzo having a tough time with the breaking ball tonight.
Final game of the series tomorrow. Jake Arrieta came to the Cubs from the Orioles this year against Kyle Loesch, looking for win number 11. Miller Lite, what's on tap? And that is a day game tomorrow. On the air at 12:30, Fox Sports Wisconsin tomorrow. A game that was not originally on the televised schedule list, but it has been added for your entertainment as Jimmy Nelson goes up the ladder, picks up another strikeout, and a couple of Ks in the inning for Jimmy Nelson. to the first inning, and with 2 outs, Sean Halton, a grand slam, first career grand slam for Halton, made it a 5-run first inning, and the Brewers were off and running tonight with a bang. Logan Schaefer will lead off for the Brewers here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And the last time we saw Logan Schaefer at the plate last night, he was up there with the bases loaded, 9th inning. And how about a suicide squeeze as a walk-off?
And not an easy baseball to bunt. And how about the pitcher throwing to first base after the game was over?
And that was a force. And
Yes.
so we're talking to Tim O'Driscoll, the official scorer here, and he said he hadn't recalled anything like that, so he had to call, I believe it was Elias, and you're trying to figure out how to score all of this.
Right. The game is officially over as soon as the winning run scores in the bottom of the 9th. So all play stops.
Well, because the throw went to first, they counted that throw. It went as a put out at first base, but a sacrifice bunt for Schaefer. No hit. He did get the RBI. And that meant that it was an unearned run because the runner was there. Now, my question was, if Schaefer doesn't run, the runner at first doesn't run, the Cubs could have turned a double play to win that game.
Exactly.
Or to get to the 10th
no
inning.
doubt, yeah.
So it was a good thing everybody moved to their proper bases, advanced, or tried to advance at least, because there was a force at every base. Jerry Augustine's been with us. And Augie, you've seen a lot of games in your life. Have you ever seen that, a squeeze bunt to win the game, but the pitcher threw to first?
I've never seen that. I've seen pitchers spike the ball, throw it down on the ground in disgust. But I've never seen him throw the ball to first base.
Saved him an earned run, though. That's a nice move. I don't think he was thinking that way, but when it was all said and done, it saved him an earned run.
He was following his catcher's orders because his catcher was pointing to first base to throw. Why? I'm not sure. But
you see Blake Parker and his numbers.
interesting that you would see Blake Parker in the ball game. He's been a pretty serviceable pitcher for Dale Swaim this year. Very good earned run average. He's pitched a lot, and a 7-0 game in the 8th inning, and here he is.
So, Augie, my big question right now, if you're Jimmy Nelson, are you campaigning to go back out for a 3rd inning? There's a major league save available.
It'd be nice for him to get that opportunity. You want to stretch him out. It just depends on what Ron and Rick have in the future. If they want to start him, he goes 2 innings, did a nice job. It just depends on what they want to do down the road with him, I think.
Well, there are other pitchers that need work, and Michael Blazek is out there. It looks like he'll have the 9th inning.
I don't think Jimmy Nelson's in any position to do any campaigning at all.
I agree with you, Rock, right there. No question.
2 good innings, and I think that's a good day's work.
And he turned left. He probably thought for a moment, maybe I should say I'm good to go. Left turn. Nice showing tonight for Nelson, though.
It's impressive. You have the young pitchers coming up, and it's one thing about command, but it's how effectively you use those pitches that you have good command with. And the young pitchers have come up. Once they've been up here a little bit, it seems like they got that good idea. So it all starts with you could throw the ball, and I know Rock and you and I have talked about Thornburg, how he used to be a high velocity pitcher, where now he's actually backed off a little bit, has had better command, and he's become a better pitcher because of it.
And more importantly, I think, or just as important as what you're talking about, throwing off-speed pitches first pitch to get strikes, as opposed to trying to get ahead with a fastball. That's what he did last year when he gave all those home runs.
He's developed a changeup that's been very effective for him. There's no question.
2-2 to Logan Schaefer, starting the bottom of the 8th, and he skies one to shallow center. Ryan Sweeney will make the play for the first out. Thornburg, Augie, hasn't really talked about specifically what Kyle Loesch has passed on to him, but he credits Kyle Loesch a great deal with some of the things he's doing right now. Is there anything that you see that compares to Loesch, or anything you could just take a guess at why Thornburg has been so successful? As you see Chris Davis, presented by Wendy's.
The one thing that I see out of of Thornburg so far is how relaxed he is on the mound. You know, it's like you have a good idea, a game plan of what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. And it just seems like, you know, before he's out there and he's trying to be overly aggressive, he's trying to try to power pitch people, you know. And when you get to the big leagues, and if your fastball doesn't have a lot of movement, you throw it straight and you get it down middle plate, they're going to hit it. And it just seems like now he's relaxed. He locates the ball very well. He uses all quadrants. He pitches up and down very well, in and out very well, and he's getting the pitches over the plate. I just see a guy who understands what he has to do. He's more efficient with his pitches, and he's just out there enjoying himself. And, boy, it's really made a difference with him.
A nice night tonight. Thornburg goes 6 innings. Could have easily come back out for the 7th. But a big lead, and Renicky trying to get some pitchers some work, as Sophia reported. And Nelson able to go 2 innings. That might set Jimmy Nelson up to make a start. We've heard a lot about that, Augie, about Jimmy Nelson potentially getting 1 start before the season ends. But the Brewers are already in a 6-man rotation. So how, on the other side of that, how do you manage that as a pitching coach? Who has, you know, who drops out? How do you get a guy back in the rotation when you're already at 6?
That's something they'll have to make a decision as you go along. You know, you look at, do you want Willie Peralta? He's got 31 starts. Maybe give him a start off. That could be an area you look at. Because you look at what Willie's done. Willie's started every time he's had to go out there. Willie's been there. He's going to end up with 33 starts. So that might be an area, a young pitcher who's really starting to throw the ball very well and let him finish on a positive note. It'll be interesting to see how they juggle that starting rotation.
Or they might just sit down, you know, Loesch or Gallardo for a start and say, hey, nice season, and, you know, give Nelson, you know, an opportunity to get a start maybe against the Mets.
Well, the Braves will be the first series of that road trip, and Atlanta is close to clinching their division, but they're still going to be playing for the best record, even if they've clinched at this point. And Atlanta has a chance to cut their magic number to 2 with a win tonight over the Nationals.
And that's an important thing for the Braves, because they're 30 games over 500 at home.
So you almost have to play that one straight up and do the things you would normally do. I think managers across the major leagues, they have this unwritten code about, you know, when you're playing the Cubs, you can afford to do things. The Brewers and the Cubs aren't going to be involved at all in the pennant race. But when you match up against contending teams, then you do play it a little differently as far as who you pitch and when you use certain relievers. Protecting the field, as they say. So you could figure that 3-game series with Atlanta, Renicky would keep things as is. But then the 4-game series against the Mets to finish the year, you might see a lot of different maneuvering and putting players in different positions for evaluation. And I'm sure the Mets will be doing the same. Full count to Davis. And that is on the corner, a called strike 3, and down he goes for out number 2.
Of course, I doubt Ron Renicky's looking to do the Cardinals any favors. Cardinals are, you know, battling for home field advantage throughout the playoff, just like the Atlanta Braves. Not that Renicky would try any less to win a ball game, but you know, he still wants to play his guys. He wants to take a look at what he's got, and that's more important than anything else at this point.
Well, talking to Renicky, I think it boils down to a couple of specific questions. If it's a hitter, you're saying, all right, is this an at-bat that a particular young player could use for his development? And the pitcher is same, are these innings that he could use for development? And then you contrast that to what is the best option here as far as personnel goes. And I think it really boils down to when you're pinch hitting hitters or when you're talking about matchup relievers. It's subtle, but I know managers. I was talking to Jim Leland about this Sunday, and because rosters expand, you have so many matchups down there in the bullpen. You can go to so many different pitchers for every particular scenario. And the Brewers didn't even call up that many compared to other teams around baseball. 2-2 to Halton. Another first for him tonight. His first career big league grand slam. Thornburg and Nelson have combined on a 3-hit shutout thus far. Looks like Blazek will have the ninth. Halton with 4 homers now and 15 runs batted in the big leagues, 77 at bats, and there's a hook and it's a strike, and the inning is over. Augie will see you for Brewers Live shortly.
Oh, it's great to be with you guys.
Jerry Augustine and Craig Deshawn will have Brewers Live. Michael Blazek will be on the mound when we come back. And she is into it. That is awesome. That's how you have some fun. Well, with the Badgers coming off a tough loss at Arizona State, you can read Jesse Temple's answers to your questions in his latest FoxSportsWisconsin.com mailbag. Submit your questions starting after each game on Saturday. The mailbag will appear every Wednesday. Young and old alike dancing up a storm here. Those who have remained. Brewers have been in control since the first inning. 5-run first. It's 7-0 now as we go to the ninth, and Michael Blazek on to try to finish off the Cubs and send the Brewers to a 4-game winning streak.
Well, another guy down in that Brewers bullpen that's looking to open up some eyes. Blazek coming over from the St. Louis Cardinals in that John Axford deal. That in the beginning part of September. 15th game overall and a .675 earned run average for Blazek.
Blazek will face Nate Sherholtz to start it. Been a long time since the Brewers won 4 straight games. Got to go back to June 7th through the 10th. They won 4 in a row, 3 against the Phillies, and then 1 on the road in Miami. Brewers had a 9-game winning streak in April of this year. Center field, Schaefer coming in, got a late break, and that's going to fall. They didn't see that one off the bat very well. So Sherholtz is aboard with a hit.
Yeah, that hit off the end of the bat a lot of times will freeze an outfielder, and just when you get a bad break, sometimes that's all it takes to have a base hit fall in front of you. Logan Schaefer, like Gomez, has been playing a little bit deeper lately.
All right. Ryan Sweeney with a man on. Blazek's got a great arm. Brewers like the idea that he's under club control for a while. Axford was probably going towards being non-tendered, and what that means is he would have become a free agent at season's end. So they're looking at Blazek as a guy who has an Axford type arm, mid to upper 90s. Just getting his feet wet in the big leagues. They weren't going to re-sign Axford anyway, so you make the trade with the Cardinals, even though it's a division rival, and you get a pitcher that has some upside and maybe a chance to pitch his way to the big leagues next season as Sweeney flies out.
Yeah, good trade-off. Yeah, Brewers maybe trying to save a little bit of money and get the youngster. And you certainly hope that John Axford doesn't go back to haunt his old club down the road. Brewers are going to see Axford and the Cardinals over the weekend.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what the Cardinals do with Axford. Will they non-tender him this offseason, or do they? He is arbitration eligible, so he's under club control if they want him to be.
Question is he going to make the playoff roster? That'll be dependent upon how he throws, I guess.
Axford's been pretty good for him so far. Cardinals are getting into the late innings tonight. Wainwright is still in the game. St. Louis leads 4-3 in the 8th inning at Colorado. And Wainwright still on the mound in the 8th, their ace. Brian Bogusevic, one gone in the 9th. And he got him. Blazek strikes him out.
Good slider.
So 2 gone, and it comes down to their last out. Darwin Barney coming up. Hasn't been a whole lot of games this year. The Brewers can put it on cruise control.
Been nice tonight. Not over yet. You're not packing the bats yet, are you?
No, not yet. Got everything out. Got my iPad out, all my scorebook, all my materials, game notes.
I packed my bats.
It's amazing that the headset is still on. Left field, and Davis is there, and that caps off a great night for the Brewers. Davis homer tonight. A grand slam by Sean Holton. A 5-run first and a combined shutout. Tyler Thornburg, Jimmy Nelson, and Michael Blazek. 7-0 the final score. The 13th shutout the Brewers pitchers have tossed, and all of them coming since June 15th. A lot more to come from Miller Park. Brewers Live is around the turn with Craig Cashon and Jerry Augustine. The Brewers, winners of 4 straight. Stay with us. Brewers Live coming up.